Now in its 9th season, it's Prodigy Bowlers Tour, celebrating junior bowling and elevating junior bowlers. Today, episode 191, the 2025 Kansas City Open May Point Tournament. 5 players have qualified for the TV finals, but only one can leave as the Division I champion. Here are the 5 finalists. Qualifying 5th is Gabe Diaz, who's making his first appearance on Prodigy today. He'll face our 4th qualifier, Colton Swift of Emporia, Kansas. The winner will meet the number 3 qualifier, Dylan Pollard, the Dill Pickle. The winner of that match will advance to face our 2 seed, Caden White. And the winner of that match will bowl for the title against our tournament leader, Jonas Tucker of Liberty, Missouri. One of these talented young athletes is going to claim the Division I crown at the KCO May Point Tournament today and will sign the coveted trophy pin, punching his ticket to the season-ending Prodigy TOC. Welcome once again to Revolutions Lanes and Fun Center here in St. Joseph, Missouri. Last week on episode 190, you saw the Division III finals, where Jackson Conroe won 3 matches, only to have tournament leader Grace Ryder claim the title in the final match. Today, we're focused on Division I, where last year, Tashawn Clark won a roll-off just to sneak into the 5th position to make the stepladder, and then he won all 4 matches to claim the title. Today, we've got a great lineup of Division I players that I expect will produce plenty of excitement. As you know, the KCO holds competitions each month in 5 average-based divisions, with Division I being the scratch bowlers, who all have averages of 200 and higher. Qualifying took place in 2 flights. A and B squad went off to bowl 3 games in the morning, and then each squad came back for 3 more games in the afternoon flight. 6 games in all, and here's how qualifying shook out in Division I. Of course, you know who secured the top 5 spots to make the stepladder finals. Lefty Christian Leahy came up 6 pins short of a roll-off for the 5th position. Tied for 7th was Rhett Ryman, who just missed out. Landon Ziegenhurt, our winner in March, finished 10th. Eli Clinklin was right behind in 11th. Andrew Coleman in 13th. Damian Burns in 14th. Bennett Van Dyke, who lost that heartbreaking roll-off to Tashawn Clark last year. And bringing up the rear was Caleb Conroe, who you didn't see, but you heard on episode 190, rooting for his younger brother, Jackson. A smaller field today, partly because a lot of bowlers already accrued the required number of events to be eligible for the KCO Invitational, or they're recovering from the prom last night. But right now, it's time to get our first match underway between our number 5 qualifier, Gabe Diaz of Kansas City, Kansas, and Colton Swift of Emporia, Kansas. Colton and his older brother won the December Adult Youth Doubles Tournament on Prodigy, and Gabe Diaz is making his first appearance on the show. He's on the Turner High School team with Rhett Ryman, so he's no stranger to throwing strikes. And this 17-year-old might need a few strikes to get past Colton Swift in this match. But Gabe Diaz is going to lead off. Look at that line he's playing deep inside. He gets a powerful strike to start. Watch where this tracks. Over about 22 at the arrows. It gets out to about 14. And boy, that one just penetrated through the pocket. Pins had no chance. Colton Swift expecting the ball to drive through the pins a little better than that, but instead it deflects to the right upon impact, and trying to get a little wall shot action, but not to be. The 5-pin remains as every hand in the house goes up. but I would expect he will have no problem with the 5-pin. And he covers the easiest spare there is. So both players begin with a mark, and we are even here in St. Joseph. Colton Swift already has turned 18, so he is in his final year of eligibility as a youth bowler. Oh, he gave that one a little more room to the right. It read the friction on the outside of the lane and came charging back. A little stronger through the pins due to a better entry angle, and there was never a doubt about this one. Watch. This one will get out to about 6 at the break point, and no deflection that time. That's 10 in the pit. All right, Gabe, working on a strike, can take the lead with another one here. But instead, that ball breaks high through the nose. Leaves the 3-6. Could have been worse. Well, this young fellow has a high game of 299. He also has a 297 to his credit. And his high series, 742. He's been bowling since he was 14, his first league when he was 15. So he's only been at it 2 or 3 years now. Covers the spare. Got a nice straight arm swing. I like that. Says he doesn't know yet what he wants to be when he grows up. But that's okay. We don't need a decision today. Well, he did the same thing that Colton Swift did the last time he was up. He sent it a little wider this time. It got out there to the dry part of the lane on the outside, and it came storming back to create the mixing action. Watch this. It'll hit in the light pocket, but it gets the 5, and everything on the left side of the rack just collapses. All right, Colton with an opportunity to double and take the lead. And there it is. This young man a little more experienced. He's 18. He's been bowling since he was 6. And first time he was in a league was 10 years ago when he was 8. Colton has a 299 to his credit and an 804. Throwing a lot of shots like that. The best part of his game, watch how low he gets at the foul line. And he holds that pose. Went a little high with that shot. Says his dad was the one who got him into bowling. Unless I'm reading his handwriting incorrectly, in which case he may be saying his dog got him started, but somehow I doubt that. Says, how do you get started bowling? It either says my dog or my dad. I'm going to go with dad. All right, Gabe Diaz now with a chance to take the lead. He's got a strike working. Oh, my goodness. Boy, he really gave it room, but let up on the speed a little bit, and that just tore through the nose. And now he's faced with the Greek Church. 2 different schools of thought on this. I think in most cases you're going to go for the 3 to get the count. But if you really have to make it, I always say go for the 2 on the left. But I think in this situation early in the match, the smart play is to take the count, go for the 3. And that's what he does. And he is open in the 4th frame, trailing by 23 pins. And now it's time to get busy. Just like that. That's how you get busy. Here's Gabe's footwork, 5-step approach. Little drift to the left. He's a planter. See how his hand is on the side of the ball as he comes through it? I'd like to see that hand a little more behind the ball and come up the back of it rather than around the side of it. He'd have a whole lot more power and a more consistent, easy to control hook. There is another good one by Colton Swift. First time I saw this young man bowl on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, I believe it was October, and I said, oh, this guy, he's got some talent. Look at this guy. He lost that day, but then he came back a couple of months later and took the title at the December Adult Youth Doubles Tournament with his brother. And you can see why. Watch it again. Look how low he gets at the foul line. Love that. All right, Gabe. Show us what you got. He's got a lot. I know Rhett Ryman works with him a little bit, with them being on the same team together at Turner High School. They both bowl league over at KC Bowl. Right there, that is planting one in the pocket. No deflection. He needs 2 or 3 more of those right here in a row. He just cut that one a little short. Just didn't trust it out to the right. That can be caused somewhat by the fact that he gets around it so much. I always say if you come through the shot and the release area with your hand on the right side of the ball, you've already pulled it. You want your palm behind the ball. He goes straight at it and gets it on the left side. Not the way we would recommend, but a spare is a spare is a spare, and you take them however you can get them. Well, the players to our left, bowling on lanes 19 and 20, those are the Division II players. We'll tell you about how their stepladder finals played out when we get to the end of the show after we visit with our winner. You see Cortland Worrell shooting at the 5-pin there. I had an opportunity to babysit Cortland's emotional support animal, Luca, for a little while today during the stepladder finals. Luca makes an appearance at most of the KCOs along with Cortland, and he is a little sweetie. I loves me some doggies. Oreo's going to be very jealous when I get home. No, Colton rips the rack that time. Man, he gave that one plenty of room to the right, and it just tore through the rack. Watch this shot over about the third arrow, out to about 5, hits the half pocket, and the 5-pin just whistles over into the 7 and rips it out. All right, Gabe, it's time to go to the whip. Oh, man. Not what he needed. It's the 4-9 split. We've had it made a few times on Prodigy. Here is Adam Wilson showing us how it's done a couple of years ago at the Adult Youth Doubles Tournament in Belton. Put the ball over on the left side of the 4-pin, slide it into the 9. Well, you got to get the ball over to the left side of the 4-pin. So another open frame, and I'm afraid Gabe is running out of frames now. A possible 200 if he strikes out. Strikes in the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Colton can get to 200 and beyond with just one more mark in either the 9th or 10th frame. Well, there's one strike. He's going to need 3 more. He's probably going to need a little more than that, too. Going to need some divine intervention. But there's that deep inside angle he showed us in the first frame. It's tough to make yourself stay there, but that's where the play appears to be. Boy, I tell you what, Colton almost gave him an opening there. That could easily have been a 2-10 or a 2-8-10. As we see Cortland Worrell shooting the 2-10 over on lane 20. But Colton Swift is not going to have to deal with that mess as he leaves just the 2-pin. This should be pretty easy. And that should just about wrap it up. He's going to need some count in the 10th frame, but I think he can coast in from here and put this match away. Seven pins on this ball will do it. And that's more than 7. And that's a winner. Colton Swift is moving on to match 2. That's a clean game. Over about 19 at the arrows, gets it out to about 11. Keeps it neatly left of the oil line. That seems to be the magic recipe. See, he got that one a little right of the oil line, and it kind of hung up. Didn't quite make it back. But I don't think he cares. A 217 with a spare here is more than enough. He also has a very nice, compact, straight swing. There is a lot to like about Colton Swift's game. And I think Gabe Diaz is just going to keep getting better and better. This is just his 4th KCO of the season. His best previous finish was at the March Adult Youth Doubles Tournament, where he finished 11th. Oh, there's that 210 we were talking about. Last month in April, Gabe finished 14th all by himself. Here's how you make the 210. He's going to go with the backup ball and nearly gets it. That was close. But it's a 166 finish. And Colton Swift is going to be advancing to our next match, where he will face the number 3 qualifier, Dylan Pollard, right after this. For his first time on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, I thought Gabe Diaz threw some quality shots. But unfortunately, 3 errant shots that yielded difficult splits led to 3 open frames, while his opponent threw a clean game with a couple of doubles to keep the heat on. Gabe is 17, and I'm not really sure if he's got another year of high school ahead. But if he remains in youth bowling next season, I think he could have a promising future. Either way, I hope he had fun today. But it's Colton Swift who takes the opening match and will now face the number 3 qualifier, Dylan Pollard, the Dill Pickle. You heard on our last episode of Prodigy that Dylan recently won the U15 boys division at the Missouri Pepsi tournament. We talked a lot about how Caden White won the U18 boys division with a score of 1507 for an average of 251. But Dylan nearly broke the 1,500 barrier himself, finishing with a 6-game total of 1492 for a 248 average. That's pretty juicy. Now you know why I've been looking for this young fellow to bust out and emerge as one of the truly strong up-and-comers on Prodigy. But for some reason, he hasn't quite shown his stuff on the show yet. Maybe he will today. He's due. But don't sleep on Colton Swift. The first time I saw this guy, I said, wow, this kid can bowl. He's got a solid game and showed it in our opening match. Now we'll find out if he can keep it going. But first, it's going to be Dylan Pollard who leads off. Dylan, being the higher qualifier, had the option, and he wants to finish on the right lane. Oh! Well, that's a nice way to start on the left lane. Little trip 4 action. Gotta love it. All right. Colton Swift, let's see if he can continue what he started. That's a pretty solid start. Well, these two are pretty evenly matched, I'd say. Although Dylan is the youngest player in our 5-person stepladder field today at just 14. Nah, just a pinch high that time. It didn't give it quite as much room. So Colton will have the 4-pin to contend with. Both of these players with high series in the 800s. Colton's high is an 804. Dylan has an 802. And he has 3 300 games. Colton still looking for his first. Covers the 4. And now we'll get another look at Dylan Pollard. His best finish so far this season was back in October when we were in Gladstone. He qualified 4th, won a couple of matches, finished 3rd. Ringing 10. This young fellow has a slew of tournament wins to his credit. He's won the Pepsi a couple of times. He's won a KCO. He's won 3 Heart of America tournaments, the HOA, another tournament organization in the Kansas City area. They usually bowl on sport shots. And 1 JBC. Oh my goodness. Well, there's an unforced error as Dylan whiffs the 10-pin. He will wear his emotions on his sleeve. You can usually read him like a book. His favorite bowler is Jason Belmonte. Snaps out the 10 pin. That's the way you bounce back from an open. Watch this one. 5-step approach. He actually slides a little bit. Over about 18 at the arrows, out to about 7 at the break point, and down they go. Colton high on the head pin, gets the 6 to fall out late. This kid, an excellent spare shooter. You won't see him miss these very often. That is one of the advantages of having such a steady head and getting so low at the foul line. He's got great accuracy. Ringing 10. Colton says his best moment in bowling was when he made the big 4. And I tell you what, that is a thrill. If you ever make the big 4, you will never forget it. Covers the 10 easily once again. And now Dylan Pollard, who says he wants to grow up to be either an entrepreneur or an NBA player. Well, there's a lot of room between those two. But I tell you what, his dad is about 6 foot forever. I'm serious. He's almost 7 feet tall, I think. Of course, from where I stand, everybody looks 7 feet tall, but he is a big guy. So Dylan is probably going to be a big guy as well. And at 14, he's shooting right up there now. Covers the 6 pin with no problem. Well, not only does he have that 3rd place finish in October, he's got 2 other top 10s this season. Back in September, he began the season with a 6th place finish, just missing out on the step ladder. And in February, he finished 5th. So he's had a good year. Throwing shots like that. You know, some of us behind the scenes at Prodigy Bowlers Tour talking about this time of year, a lot of the kids who are 18 will soon be aging out. We won't see them on Prodigy again. And we start talking about who is that next wave of players who are going to step up and be the elite players next year. And one of the names that keeps coming up is Dylan Pollard. I've been predicting big things for that guy for a couple of years now. Maybe a little too soon to put the pressure on him, but I think he's got the talent. I think he's going to be around for a while. Take a look at Colton Swift here. The ball right next to his ankle, a little left of his head at the bottom of the swing. Hand underneath the ball. This is ideal, but look how deep his knee bend is. Not only does he get low with a bend at the waist, but he gets low by getting a deep knee bend, and that's the key. Oh, man, a little unlucky that time. That 5-pin looked like it was going to go over and take out the 7. What happened? Well, I'll tell you what happened. The head pin is going to go to the left wall, and it's going to come back and knock the 4 into the 5 and knock the 5 off course, preventing it from taking out the 7 pin. That is too much pin action. But an easy spare, and he takes care of it with no problem. 10 pins separating these two. Dylan Pollard in the trailing position, but he has a strike working and can square this match with a strike right now in the 6th frame. But he sent that one a little too wide and gave it enough fire. That ball had plenty of ball speed. It really didn't have a chance to get back. So he will have to show some patience in bringing this match back to all square. For the time being, he will have to be satisfied trailing by 10 and see if he can put another strike up on the board. Interestingly, Dylan chose to finish on the right lane. He started this match on the left, but as it turns out, the left lane seems to be his friend. He has struck every time on the left lane, but he's going to finish on the right by his own choosing. And he keeps that left lane in his back pocket. Watch this shot again. There is a lot to like about Dylan Pollard's game as well. He's in good position at the top of the swing. Brings that ball right by his ankle, and watch it snap out the 10. And Colton Swift has got the 9-itis this match. Tell you what, if this was a 9-pin no tap, these two would be in high cotton. Let's go down to the practice pair where Caden White is getting ready to take on the winner of this match. So you started throwing this backup ball during the qualifying round when the right side of the lane got so totally chewed up.
Yeah.
You're warming up
I am.
with the backup ball.
I am.
Are you intending on using it in your match?
As of right now, I am. I do have a few other balls up here to test out the right side down there. But for now, it's backup ball.
All right, well, good luck.
Thank you.
We've never had anybody come on Prodigy Bowlers Tour and bowl an entire match with their backup ball. Not that many players have a backup ball in their repertoire that they could depend on in such a situation, but Caden's going to try it. We're seeing these players struggle on the right side. It's not surprising if a player has a backup ball in their bag of tricks. This would be a good time to use it. All right, Dylan, once again, presented with an opportunity. He can take the lead with a strike here in the 8th frame. And there it is. He'd been hanging around, kept striking on the left lane, but he just couldn't find the trick to throw a strike on the right lane. He found it now, and he might be dangerous the rest of the way. See if he can keep the left lane. Yeah, there it is. He's got the left lane. So now that pushes Dylan out to a 12-pin lead. Let's take a look at the last 3 strikes he's thrown on this left lane in the 5th, 7th, and 9th frames. They all look pretty similar. We'll see just how similar they are when we stack them on top of each other with our exclusive 3-deep look. You'll see a little bit of variance. Kind of fell off balance on one of those shots, stepping off to the right, but from the back of the approach to the foul line, they look pretty similar. There's a light shaker for Colton Swift. And now he's going to have to show us something here in the 10th frame. A strike on the first ball in the 10th will at least pull him to within 2 pins. This was a really good shot. Out to about 6 at the break point. Got the light shaker to work for him. But now here's the key ball of the match. And he stuffs him straight back. So now that's going to keep Dylan honest in the 10th. It's going to force him to mark and get good count. And if Colton can throw the next strike, one just like that maybe, he can take the lead and force Dylan to get the first strike. There it is. Well, Colton has done all he can do. That turkey pushes him out to the lead. And now count is important here. Get all you can. And he will at least force Dylan to get the first strike. And he gets all 10. Not his best shot, but a little wall shot action. So the situation is this. Dylan must strike on the first ball in the 10th to have any chance. He needs strike, 9 spare to win. But if he doesn't get this first strike, Colton wins the match. There you go. That's clutch. That gives Dylan the lead, but it is a paper-thin lead. He has got some fire in him. All right, he needs 9 spare. If he gets 8, he'll have to make it to tie. 7's a loser. Boom! Dylan Pollard takes match 2 and does it with some clutch bowling at the end. That is awesome. This is what I've been expecting to see out of this young fellow, really for a couple of years now. One more for 228. There you go. Wow. That's the way you finish a match with a 6-bagger. And win going away. But Colton Swift pushed him to the limit. But it's Dylan Pollard who's moving on to face the guy with the backup ball, Caden White. That's 2 clean games that Colton Swift just bowled. That'll usually get you through. But when he wasn't striking, Colton was in 10-pin hell. He left 4 of them. Add that to a 7-pin, and I think Colton Swift has seen enough corner pins to last him a while. Maybe a ball change might have helped, but it's tough to make yourself change balls when every shot you throw is right in the pocket. So for Colton, he'll go home scratching his head. It's a conundrum. But Dylan Pollard, who whiffed a 10-pin in the second frame, rallied and closed the match with a 6-bagger. A match, by the way, in which he struck on the left lane every time he was up on it. So it's Dylan Pollard who's on to match 3, where he'll now face the 2 seed, Caden White. The players coming on get 2 warm-up balls on each lane, and Caden threw 3 of his 4 warm-ups as backup balls, and he struck on every one. The one he threw normal, he left the 6-7. So I expect him to come out firing with his backup. He practices this shot all the time, so he's very comfortable with it. Meanwhile, it looks like Caden has opted to let Dylan start the match, so Dylan won't be finishing on lane 21, where he has struck on every ball he's thrown today. Although, to be honest, the last few frames of that last match, it didn't seem to matter which lane he was up on. Dylan threw strikes on both of them. Not throwing it there, though. That one goes through the nose, and he leaves the 3-6. Well, when we asked him how he got started bowling, Dylan said his dad asked him one day to go bowl with him, and so he did. Fell in love with it. Covers the 3-6 with ease. I'd rather see him play that from the left side of the lane, but he had no problem with it. And now Caden White. This should be interesting. I've seen him use his backup ball on spares before, but today in qualifying, when Caden switched to his backup ball in the afternoon flight of qualifying, he shot 719 with it. And there's a light shaker to get him started. That'll make him feel good. Anytime you can carry a slightly off hit with any kind of release, it makes you feel good. But when you're throwing a type of shot that you're not really used to throwing in a match, that's got to build his confidence. Although I've never known Caden White to be short on confidence. Isn't that something? Think this kid has any talent? Watch this one again. Everything about his approach is the same, except that he comes through it inside out on the release. Clockwise rotation. All right, Dylan, you might have your hands full this match. You might have had your hands full anyway with Caden. Oh, man, that was a good ball. Not rewarded. And he gestures like, I don't know what I have to do, but, well, he knows. It's bowling. Sometimes that happens. But he covers the 10-pin and sends the pin out in front of the rake. They'll have to go get it. Well, Dylan says his best moment in bowling is when he was practicing one day and picked up the 7-10 split. We just happen to have it on video. Oh, what fun. Just a wee bit high. Leaves the 4-pin. So Dylan will have to deal with another spare here. A simple one. As he lets the traffic go by. Again, that is Division 2 to our left on 19 and 20. We'll recap their stepladder at the end of the show. There's a spare for Dylan. And now once again, Caden White. Well, this guy has been on a real roll lately. Seems like every time he turns around, he's bowling in a tournament across the state line or on the other side of the state, either winning or coming close. Look at this. Well, he's got the left side of the lane all to himself. There's no left-handers, so why not? He's been practicing this backup ball for a couple of years. Here's how he does it. Releases it from the inside of the ball, rotates clockwise instead of counterclockwise, as most bowlers, most right-handers would. He's got all the tricks. And that's a 4-bagger to start. It is an embarrassment of the riches. Here's his footwork. It looks just like a normal approach, a normal delivery, except he's throwing a backup ball. I guess I shouldn't be that amazed. More and more young people are adding this to their arsenal of tricks in their bag of tricks. But you just don't see it in a match all that often, other than when they're going for a spare. Anthony Simonson on the PBA won a PBA tournament once using a backup ball, but that's the only time I can think of it happening at that level. Dylan, 4 spares against 4 strikes. It just doesn't seem quite fair, does it? You know, the USBC rule is you can only bowl with one hand. You can't switch from right-handed to left-handed without setting a new average, although I don't know why that would be an issue if you're bowling scratch, but it is a USBC rule. But if you can switch the side of the lane you're bowling on, man, that seems like a huge advantage. Dylan with the fast 8 as the 2-pin flies around the 4-7, and suddenly he can't buy a strike. He finished the last match with a 6-bagger. And now everything he throws is not happening. Well, Caden has had quite a season just at the KCO. He won in February when he qualified first and finished first. He also qualified second and finished second last month, and at the March Point tournament. He finished third when he qualified fifth in September. Oh, well, I'll be. He makes an errant shot. Call the newspaper. Well, here's the 3-7. I wonder if he will go with his backup ball or if he'll throw it with his normal shot. I would think he might go with his normal shot for the 3-7. And he does. No, it's actually a straight ball. And he makes it. Well, he's just got all the tricks in his bag of tricks, and how can you not be impressed with that? This is actually a straight ball, like he'd throw at any old spare. That is beautifully done. I just don't think there's another youth player in his league in this part of the country right now. He's just bowling so well. And he gets the messenger, too. Any questions? Look at this guy. Out to about 8 at the break point. Looks like it's not going to quite get there, but oh no. Here comes the posse. All right, Dylan, you're going to have to take it off the sheet. That's a good way to get that started. Gets his first strike of the match in the 6th frame. I would not have predicted that after the way he finished the last match. Half pocket and just rips them apart. Tell you what, this kid has a lot of talent, and to think that he's 14 years old, we're going to be following Dylan Pollard, the dill pickle, for a few more years, and it's going to be a fun ride. But this time he comes in a little thin, and he gestures like, I don't know what I can do. He leaves the 2-4-5. And he's going to shoot this from the right side of the approach. I don't like that. I'd like to see him play this down the left side of the lane. Cuts down the chop angle. And just like that. You play it down the right side of the lane, and that opens up the gap between the 2 and the 5. You play it down the left side of the lane, and it's not as easily choppable. Oh, you can chop it from anywhere on the lane, sure, but got a little better chance down the left side. But he is probably as much in awe of Caden as the rest of us are. They're both from Lee Summit. They know each other well. And there's another strike. Ho-hum. Well, missing a 3-pin, are we? All right. You insist on shooting at all 10 pins. I applaud that. That was Bryce Isaacson. You just saw throw a strike on lane 20. He's in Division 2 and admitted to me today that he's been a Prodigy fan since back in the days when we were in Georgia. We need to get him on the show once again. And here is Caden once again. Over about 12 at the arrows, out to about 10. It plays pretty much the same on the left and the right. It's just you got less traffic picking up the oil on the left side of the lane. Crunch. There's a strike for Dylan. But I'm not sure he's going to have enough frames left to catch Caden. This was a good shot, though. Somebody's coaching these Lee Summit kids up, because that has become quite a little hotbed of young bowling talent. Possible 213 for Dylan. Although Caden can get there with just one more mark. Well executed. Look at him slap out the 7-pin. I almost said 10-pin out of habit. But that strike puts him across the finish line. So it's going to be Caden White in the championship match against Jonas Tucker. That really is impressive. To throw it that well with a backup ball that you only occasionally use to shoot at certain spares. I know he practices it, but he can't possibly practice it as much as he practices his normal strike ball. And yet, when it comes down to crunch time, here he is with another solid strike. And he has thrown 9 strikes in his first 10 balls in this match. Make that 10 out of 11. Pretty impressive. He will be aging out of youth bowling this summer, so enjoy it while you can, Prodigy Land, because this is the last season we'll have him regularly on the show. Oh, that one got away from him, so 6 on the final ball. That's a 10-strike, 274. Thank you very much. And Dylan Pollard can only tip his cap and tuck his tail, I guess. But he's had a good day. He's going to finish 3rd. The best he can do is 192. Some days you're the dog, some days you're the fire hydrant. But Dylan bowled well today. 3rd place is not nothing. And he will have his day. It's a 7 count on the final ball for a 189. Not what he had hoped for, but with Caden White throwing a 274 at you, it's going to take a premium effort to get past that. It's Caden and Jonas for the title when we return. After seeming to have the left lane wired in match 2, Dylan Pollard could only muster 1 strike on the left lane in match 3, and only 3 strikes overall, while his opponent posted 10 strikes, and that adds up to a rout. Still, Dylan only made 1 mistake when he chopped the 245. But sometimes even your best efforts just aren't quite good enough, especially when your opponent is firing on all cylinders. All Caden did was toss a little 274 at Dylan using a backup ball. So it's Caden White who finds himself in familiar territory, bowling in the championship match. His opponent this time is Jonas Tucker. Jonas has 3 tournament wins to his credit, a couple of Heart of America Classics, and 1 KCO. But that KCO was back when he was still in Division 5, and that's been a while. He's been knocking on the door the past couple of years, and maybe today will be his day to finally break through. But Caden is looking to become the first Division I player to win on Prodigy for a second time this season, which would surely give him an advantage in our Player of the Year voting as the season is rapidly winding down. Either way, these two are fiery competitors, and I expect both of them to leave nothing in the bag. Jonas Tucker, being the higher qualifier, had the option. He has elected to let Caden start the match. Usually when a player elects to let his opponent start, it's because he wants to finish first to put the pressure on his opponent at the end. So we'll see how that works out. But Caden crosses over with his opening toss, leaving the 4-pin. Not his best effort, that one. Well, Caden had a pretty nice outing last summer at Junior Gold when he finished 75th in U18 boys. Anytime you can get to the advancers round at Junior Gold, you've accomplished something. All right, Jonas Tucker. We've only seen him on Prodigy a couple of times. He started the year in Division I. He finished 22nd in September. They moved him down to Division II, where he has remained until April. He finished 20th last month, and here he is as the tournament leader. Oh, man. Good ball to start. But no dice. Ring and 10. Moves to the extreme left side of the approach to go cross lane at it, as he should. And he used every board. But a couple of spares out of these two players to start the match, and we are all even. Another one. That'll make you grind your teeth. 2 good balls to start. 2 ring and 10s. So once again, he covers it. No problem. All right, Caden White up on the right lane. This young man got started bowling when his buddy Nolan Nash got him interested in it. Caden, Nolan, and Rhett Ryman are 3 reigning co-players of the year. Nolan opting to go adult this year, even though he had this year of eligibility, had he chosen to use it. There's a strike for Caden. Take another look. If you're the opponent, read them and weep. 10 back. He makes it look effortless. And I guess if you're that good, maybe it is. So a bit of an errant shot to start, but then he backs it up with a couple of solid strikes, and seems like all is right with the world again, in Caden's world anyway. Jonas Tucker probably has other ideas this match. And that one goes high, and he leaves the 6-10. I think he just missed a little to the right. It read the friction early and started back a little too soon. He'll go cross lane at it. Not only is that a spare ball that doesn't hook much, but you hear it thumpity, thumpity, thump going down the lane, rolling over the holes. All right, I think Jonas is about ready to say, let's start striking now. There you go. He lets out a sigh of relief. Glad to see that he had some strikes in him. I don't think there was ever much doubt about that, but watch that one again. Short first step, little crossover step. He plants with his final step, throws it over about 18, out to about 7. And that's 10 in the pit. Can't do it much better. Caden, I think you're going to have to bring it. That's a pretty good shot right there. You might wonder what Caden considers his best moment in bowling. I mean, he's won some pretty nice tournaments and accolades, but he says when he won the gold medal on the short pattern in Las Vegas at the Storm Youth Championships, that was the pinnacle for him. Oh my. That one got away from him. Just missed wide left. The 1-3-6-9, a spare you'll probably never see Caden White leave again in his life. Here's how you make it. Let the ball cross over to the Brooklyn side for him. Brooklyn if he's throwing a backup ball. The pocket if he's throwing it normally. This is actually an easier spare throwing the backup, I think. And he covers it. All right, Jonas. Got a strike working, can cut the lead to 9 if he can put a double on the board right here, right now. Oh, boy. That was nearly a 6-7. So, you've got to be happy with the result there. Oh my. Can't be happy with that result. Whiffing the 6-pin and missing it badly, I have to say. Let's see if we can pick up what's going on here with his game. Well, you see the ball not directly under his head. It's a little to the right of it, and the bigger problem is the big gap between his ankle and the ball. If he could get his elbow in closer to his torso, that would correct that problem. It would bring the ball in closer to his ankle, get it more under his head or even to the left of it. He would gain a whole lot of accuracy. There's a good shot. Despite that shortcoming in his game, Jonas repeats his shots pretty consistently, so he overcomes it. But if he could just get that ball in closer to his leg and his elbow in closer to his torso, he would become more consistent. And as much ball as he throws, he might become dangerous. Well, we've seen this before. Caden with a 31-pin lead. Now is he just going to go run away and hide? Could happen. Looks like we are the last group still bowling at the KCO. The other divisions are finished. Oh my. Well, Caden paralyzes the 5-pin, and the pin setter has swept it away. So they will have to reset it, and while we wait for that, I will tell you that our next 2 episodes of Prodigy Bowlers Tour will come from the KCO Invitational, where 1 year ago, Rhett Ryman gave us a moment to remember against Caden White. He has been going slower and slower with each shot, and you know he's going to take his time on this one. This strike for a perfect game, 300.
Come on, ball!
Perfection. Rhett Ryman gets the second ever natural 300 on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Watch the 12th strike again. As good as it was, it wouldn't be enough to carry the day. Rhett would lose in the next match to Ethan Deal, who took Nolan Nash to the 10th frame, where Nolan needed a mark to win. Oh my gosh! What kind of a break was that? Look at this. He has the bucket. The 8 falls forward, takes out the 2, and it spreads the 4 to the left. Maybe a ½ inch. That's not going to make this split any easier for sure. But he must make it, or Ethan wins. Here's how you make the 4-5. You put the ball right between them. The ball has to touch both pins. Nolan needs a spare and a little bit of count to win the title. I just can't say enough good things about these young people that bowl on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. They never cease to amaze me. Then our big season finale, the Prodigy TOC, where all KCO winners from this season will be eligible to enter and compete to win the coveted trophy pin. Last year, Nolan Nash gave us another unexpected thrill. And now Nolan Nash is 1 strike away from our second 300 game in 2 shows. He did it! But it would be Rhett Ryman who took the grand prize at the end. Rhett Ryman has won the Prodigy Bowlers Tour Tournament of Champions and will take possession of the coveted trophy pin. We'll also announce the recipient of this year's PBAA Player of the Year award. So you won't want to miss our upcoming episodes of Prodigy Bowlers Tour. And you got to believe Caden White is very much in the hunt for another Player of the Year award, especially if he can win today. He would become the only player in Division I with multiple titles this season. He covers the 5-pin, which took him a little while to reset. And now Jonas Tucker, trailing by 31 pins, has a strike up in the 6th. He's still got time to make a match of this. There you go. Gets the shaker action. Just what the doctor ordered. Watch it again. Love his hand position at the bottom. He's going to get maximum revs out of every shot if he can just get it to the pocket. There's another one. Don't touch that dial. This match is now down to just 11 pins. Over about 18 at the arrows, out to about 8. And look at him tomahawk out the 10-pin. All right, Caden, you're going to have to earn it. And a fine time to start dealing with corner pins. But there is the weak 7. Normally the nemesis of the left-handed player. But I'll bet you Caden switches to his normal release for this. There you go. And he covers the 7-pin. Well, down to the last 2 frames. 10 pins separating these two. This is anybody's match. Little wide with that one, didn't quite get back. He's throwing his urethane ball. That's a purple hammer. It didn't quite make it back. The shaker wouldn't quite shake out the 10. So Caden's lead is down to just 9 pins, with Jonas working on a double. So there's a spare. But now, this is why Jonas opted to let Caden lead off the match. Jonas will finish first. If he throws a strike in the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, he'll shut out Caden. But a little wide with that one. Leaves the 2. And now the lead is 10. And Jonas in the role of the pursuer. Covers the spare. This young man finished 6th in U18 boys at the Missouri Pepsi tournament. He's in marching band and wants to be a lighting tech when he grows up. Concerts and TV stuff. Good for him. Boom. Well, here's the shot of the match for Jonas coming up, as we take another look at that first ball in the 10th frame. He almost had to have this to put any pressure at all on Caden. But now here's the shot of the match. He can even things up with a strike. And he gets the messenger to do it. So all of a sudden, this match is all square. What a clutch strike. And what a time to get it. You think a fire doesn't burn inside this guy? Okay, a strike here would force Caden to double. But he gets 9. So the situation is this. Caden is going to need to fill 19 to tie 20 to win. He's on a spare, so that means he'll have to go strike, spare, or strike, strike to win the match. If he gets less than 9 on this ball, Jonas wins. But he stuffs him on the first ball. That's exactly what he needed. And now, as we watch that first ball in the 10th once again, might have been the best shot he threw all day. Now, Caden is going to need a spare or a strike to win the tournament. He's on a strike, so count doesn't matter here. He can get any count, but he must spare to win. Oh my, the 3, 9, 10. And boy, oh boy, this is not the spare you want to have to shoot to win the tournament. If he throws his backup ball, here's where he'll want to put it, on the left side of the 3-pin. Let the ball drive through and get the 9, drive the 3 into the 10. If he throws his normal right to left ball, he'll want the ball to hit the right side of the 3-pin, deflect into the 10, and carry out the 9. He must make the spare to win the match. 9 outs a tie, 8 outs a loser. 9 out, it's a tie. They both finish with 213. So we go to a 9th and 10th frame roll-off. And here's how that works. The player who finishes last in regulation, that was Caden, they will bowl second in the roll-off. This is a 9th and 10th frame roll-off. The player who starts will throw 1 frame on the left and then sit down. The other player will bowl their 9th frame on the right, then the 10th on the left, and then the player who starts will finish on the right, just like a regular 9th and 10th frame. And if they're tied at the end of the roll-off, we rinse and repeat. We'll switch lanes once again, just like we're doing here. So Jonas will throw 1 frame and then sit down. Oh, no. Yeah, that's my thinking, too. What in the world? The 9-10, a form of the baby split, but more difficult, I think, than the 3-10. You got to fit the ball right between the 9 and 10. A good effort, but that is an open frame, and open frames are especially costly in a 9th and 10th frame roll-off because you don't have much time to recover. So the best Jonas can finish with is 39 with 3 strikes in the 10th. So Caden could go strike, spare, strike, or spare, strike, spare for 40. That would shut out Jonas. Ooh, ringing 7. Good shot. But now he's got to make it. And I would guess he will throw his normal right to left hook at this. Be a little easier that way. There you go. And he covers it. So now to shut out Jonas, Caden will have to get a strike on the first ball in the 10th. If he goes strike spare, he would end up with 40, and that'll be enough. If he doesn't strike on the first ball in the 10th, Jonas can still tie or win in the roll-off. Oh, he goes high. He's lucky he didn't leave a split. He gets 9. So now, with a spare and a strike on the fill ball, he'll finish with 39. That would force Jonas to throw 3 strikes in the 10th to send us to a second roll-off. But he needs to make this. There you go. Well, nothing worth doing ever comes easy. A strike, and he would guarantee that Jonas couldn't get up and beat him in the 10th frame. He needs a strike for 39. The best Jonas can do is 39. There you go. So all the chips have been pushed to the center of the table. And with this strike thrown by Caden on his fill ball in the sudden death 10th frame, he has forced Jonas Tucker to throw 3 strikes in the 10th to tie. But no, he goes through the nose, and that's it. Caden White has won the 2025 KCO May Point Tournament Division I title. Jonas covers the spare, but now the best he can finish with is 29. It's Caden White who survives extra frames. And now Jonas is going to show him his backup ball. It's a 39-25 final in the roll-off. Caden White takes the title, and we will sit down and visit with him in the winner's circle and get him to sign the coveted trophy pin. Next. That's as good as I've seen Jonas Tucker bowl, especially in the late stages of regulation when he had his back to the wall and needed to make some quality shots to force Caden's hand. But in the end, he really made one critical mistake, and that was when he went through the face and left the 9-10 in the very first frame of the roll-off. That put him in a tough spot, and while Caden didn't shut him out when he had the chance, he did force Jonas to throw 3 strikes to tie. And, well, that's the ultimate pressure situation. And the shots just weren't there when Jonas needed them at the very end. Still, second place is not nothing. And as I think everybody could plainly see, Jonas bowled his heart out. But on this day, Caden White was just a little too tough. This guy is on an unbelievable roll. He won the Pepsi tournament, won an HOA recently, went down to Oklahoma City and won a tournament there. And now this. If I'm remembering all his recent tournaments correctly, I believe that's victories in his last 4 events entered. And he won this one throwing a backup ball. Obviously, this is Caden White's world, and the rest of us are just living in it.
Well, it took long enough,
It did.
but look who finally emerged as our one and only two-time winner this year on Prodigy Bowlers Tour and at the KCO in Division One. It's Caden White, ladies and gentlemen. Did that one drain you a little bit?
It did. It took a while.
It did take a while, and what our viewers didn't see was the lengthy delay between the end of the match and the start of the roll-off. There was some controversy about the scoring because there actually was a scoring error in the system, but we sorted all that out, confirmed that it was a tie, and you came out on top somehow. And you did it throwing a backup ball.
I did.
So tell us about your decision to throw a backup ball.
So my first set was a little rough. I shot 596. I think I probably ball changed 5+ times. Tried to find something.
And what was going on? You just couldn't keep it on the right side of the head pin?
Yeah, it just kept reading it really early, seeing the friction and going left immediately. Through the
Everybody was complaining about the lanes hooking too much today.
Yeah.
But you found a way around it.
I did.
Literally.
Yeah. So I figured that there was no lefties on my pair, so I would have the whole left side to myself. So I got my trusty urethane ball, and figured with the most control I can probably be around the pocket and avoid the most splits, because I made all my makeables today.
Yeah, it's one thing to know that you've got the left side of the lane all to yourself. It's something else altogether to actually have a backup ball in your bag of tricks. But you've been practicing this for a couple of years.
I have, yeah.
And using it on some spares.
Yeah, the whole reason why I decided to learn how to throw it was because of the 210. It makes it quite a lot easier.
Yeah.
And figured might as well throw a strike ball with it. Now, obviously I still have quite a bit of work to do because there was a few errant shots there, but I'm happy with the progression.
Well, I guess so. Well, it did take a while, but not only are you the champion today, but being the only two-time champion of the year, I gotta believe this gives you the inside track toward PBAA Player of the Year. Of course, there's still another tournament next month, the KCO Invitational, but I don't know anybody who's gonna predict that, oh, well, Caden White couldn't possibly win that one. So, who knows? You might be a three-time winner before all is said and done.
I hope so.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Well, by the way, for those of you watching, Caden won another tournament yesterday. And what was that?
Missouri State Pepsi.
We think he won. We never heard anything about anybody beating his score in the second squad. But what did you shoot again?
I shot through 6 games, a 1507, which is a 251 average.
251 average for 6 games. I hate you. Sign the pin. You know what's coming. Yesterday, this kid also had his high school graduation party, which I attended, and was only too happy to be there for one of the nicest young men you're ever going to meet, Prodigy Land. I couldn't be happier
I
for
appreciate it.
Caden White.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you.
As I mentioned during the show, the bowlers in the periphery to our left were the Division II finalists. Here's how their stepladder finals shook out. In match 1, the number 4 qualifier, Gavin Neal, popped a 249 game on the 5 seed, Cortland Worrell, and that was the end of Cortland's day. Then in match 2, Gavin Neal eked out a close win over the Tonganoxie twister, Jacob Smith, 169 to 166. That sent Gavin into match 3 to face Jake Eastland, and Gavin won 263 to 236. And in the championship match, Gavin Neal kept up his stellar play, defeating the tournament leader Bryce Isaacson 258 to 186 after Bryce had posted a qualifying score higher than any other player in the field, including all the Division I's. So it was a big afternoon for Gavin Neal, running the stepladder and firing some big games to do it. So congratulations to Gavin Neal on winning the title in Division II and punching his ticket to the upcoming Prodigy Bowlers Tour Tournament of Champions. On our last episode of Prodigy, you saw the Division III finals where Grace Ryder stopped Jackson Conroe from running the stepladder as Grace claimed the championship in Division III. And we told you about how Andrew Scott won the Division IV crown. And in Division V, it was Draxton Beebe who claimed victory. All 5 of the titleists at the KCO May Point Tournament are eligible to enter the Prodigy TOC June 22nd in Olathe. Just one more KCO tournament remaining on the season's calendar, the KCO Invitational, June 1st at Olathe Lanes East. We'll be there to cover the championship round in Divisions 1 and 2, and those episodes of Prodigy will be available for viewing in mid-June. For more information about the Kansas City Open, visit their website at www.kansascityopen.com. If you like this video, leave a thumbs up, smash the subscribe button, and ring the notification bell to be notified whenever we post new content on the channel. Also, be sure to leave a comment down below. And share the video with your friends and family in email and on your social media feeds. All these things help us to grow the channel. If you'd be interested in helping to support the work that goes into producing Prodigy Bowlers Tour, become a Prodigy patron. For as little as $5 a month, you'll get early access to our full-length episodes. And for $10 a month, you not only get early access, but you also get your name listed in the show's closing credits as an executive producer. You know, like they do for the big shots in Hollywood. To keep up with all things Prodigy, join our Facebook group. From any page on Facebook, type into the search bar Prodigy Bowlers Tour and hit enter. That'll take you to a page where you can submit a request to join our group. But be sure to answer the 3 screening questions you'll be presented with. If you don't, your request to join will be declined. So that's a wrap for this edition of Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Look for the final 2 episodes covering the KCO this season as we bring you the KCO Invitational, the final tournament in the KCO's 30th season. And then we'll have just one more event and one more show at the Prodigy TOC. Hard to believe Season 9 of Prodigy Bowlers Tour is winding down, but I thank you for being a part of it, especially you longtime Prodigy heads who have been with us from the beginning. So until next time, this is Coach Randy reminding you to stay behind the foul line and to keep kicking out the corner pins, not the foul lights and ball returns. And I'll talk to you next time from the KCO Invitational. But for now, go get your bowl on.